now we straight chillin', serial killing, pre-cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ on the ones and twos by the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to another corn-fed episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 516, recorded Sunday, February 16th, 2025. Tonight we're talking about the winner of the February poll, which was Signs from 2002. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show tonight. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy, Randeezy. What's up, man?
Let me in now. What's going on, baby? Let's talk about Mel Gibson. That should be a very unfraught topic for us to tackle here today. You ready to go with that?
He's almost as normal as Joaquin Phoenix, right? Everybody's
it's a real normal bunch, you
they're
know?
on the level, for sure. I hope you brought your long legs, brother.
I never leave them at home.
Smart. Next up, calling in from Seoul, South Korea, we got your boy, Soju. What's up, man?
Well, what up? It's your boy Soju Stains and the Wolfington brothers. I love that we never get to meet them. They're just like those goddamn Wolfington
They're the
brothers.
Diaz brothers of this movie.
They're busy pissing on the front of their pants, apparently.
Yeah, apparently, goddamn.
The wettest pants you've ever seen. Last but not least, making his first appearance on the Straight Chilling podcast, everybody welcome our good friend Ed Larson to the show. What's up, Ed?
Yo! Hey, oh, wow. Big crowd. That's nice. Yeah, no, man.
They cut out in unison. It's great.
Fucking respect. I like that shit.
That's respect.
Yeah, man. Oh, this is nice. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys having me watch my 85th favorite alien movie. And
only the best for you.
This is wonderful. I can't wait to talk some horror with you guys. Over 500 episodes.
Yeah, we don't shut up. We don't know when to quit.
And at least 3 or 4 listens. It's fucking awesome.
That's very impressive. Y'all fucking go for it, man. That's great. And you got the hell of a collection behind you, Robbie.
Thanks, man. Like I said, I don't know when to quit. I got a lot of fucking movies.
Hell yeah, man. I bet your wife loves that.
She thankfully does, actually. Definitely a movie buff as well as me.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, I had to get rid of all my DVD cases and move them to books.
Oh,
that was my compromise to keep them. You know,
that's the respectable thing to do. For sure.
Yeah. But I'm very impressed, and I'd love to just stare at your walls for an hour if you ever had me over.
This is actually Bob's third house. His other two are full of blues.
I just keep buying.
Let me ask you this: do you have a Laserdisc player?
I don't. No, I've got a couple of VHS players and Blu-ray, 4K, and all that stuff. But no Laserdisc.
Once you hit Laserdisc, you've gone too far.
It's terminal.
Yeah, it's like when someone's like, "Oh, I just got an 8-track player." It's like, "Oh man, you're not doing it right."
The divorce papers are being signed right now. Oh shit!
Hell yeah!
Ed, for those of the folks listening at home who might not be familiar with you and your podcast, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you? And you're also a comedian. You got some shows coming up too.
That's right. If you ever listen to last podcast on the left, I'm one of the 3 mics on that with Henry Zabrowski and Marcus Parks. We're currently on tour worldwide. Just got back from Australia, London, and Iceland. It's a lot of fun. I've been with the podcast for about a year and a half now. It's been a blast. But I'm on my way from my first solo tour, and I'm going through Florida. And then I saw Bob here was based out of Jacksonville, and you guys talk horror movies. I'm like, please Please let me do your podcast. So this is perfect for me. Yeah, but I got shows all up and down Florida. In March, I'll be in Jacksonville, Panama City, and Tallahassee in North Florida. And then in May, I'm going to be in Naples, Dania Beach, which is Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Key West. You can go find anything there. Find me on eddytunes.com for anything going on in my life. You can check out all my shows there. Please come and see these shows live. It's a Florida fucking bonanza. I'm from Florida. I grew up down there. I love it with all of my heart, despite all the horrible things about it. And I think, some people need to come down there and stick up for the Florida man. So that's what I'm going to do. The tour is called Invasive Species. Ed Larson tours Florida. And I got about an hour of Florida-based material that works nowhere else in the country. So I'm coming to burn this material and give you guys what you deserve. I'm for everybody in Florida. I love you guys. So thanks for
That's
coming. Thanks for having me on to talk about this movie that takes place in the middle of fucking nowhere,
right.
really really far from
Real
Florida.
Florida centric film we had you on.
Hey,
That's
we got
awesome.
aliens, I know that much. We got
Yeah. Yeah. That's great, man. Yeah, check out Ed. I knew you were doing like a Florida tour. I didn't realize it was all like Florida-based material. That's rad, man. I'll have to check you out. You're
Oh
in
yeah.
Jacksonville the tw March 20th, right? I think
March
is
20th in Jacksonville, the 21st and 22nd Panama City, and March 23rd in Tallahassee. And that Tallahassee show, I went to school there. It's
Oh,
gonna be,
cool.
I'm like gonna be playing my club that I used to play all the time in college. They've like rebuilt it and expanded it, and I'm gonna be. Do you ever hear of Parliament Funkadelic?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
George Clinton. Yeah, well, I got the keyboard player playing with me, and he's gonna like
Cool.
he's gonna underscore some of my comedy, and then he's gonna do his own set after me. It's gonna be fucking amazing. Danny Bedrosian from P Funk. It's gonna be a killer show, and then Jacksonville. I'm gonna do what I can. I'm trying to get some jumbo shrimp players out there. I'm big Jacksonville jumbo shrimp fan. So hopefully
Okay.
some of the boys come out and show their support. I've been given we I used to have this podcast called the Round Table of Gentlemen, and we learned about when the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp changed their name from the Suns.
Mhm.
We made a theme song for them, and they actually started playing it at the games sometimes. And it's
Holy
like
shit.
yeah, it's like
No
we are
shit.
the Jumbo Shrimp here to play a game. You sing that like seven times in
Oh,
a row. Yeah,
one of those
so.
famous shrimp crow calls.
Damn. This is the second episode in a row where you're talking about minor league baseball in Jacksonville
Yeah,
somehow.
that is.
That's
Wow,
right.
yeah.
Strangely enough. There you go.
While
Hell
you're in
yeah.
Jacksonville, maybe you should try and get the keyboard player from Limp Bizkit to, to underscore some of your jokes.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah, man. We'll fucking break some stuff, dude. It'll be great.
Break some stuff for the nookie.
Yeah, man. Well, I do it all for the cookie. I love cookies,
Cookies are great.
Ah, they are delicious.
Awesome. Yeah.
Man.
Check out Ed's shit everywhere.
Hell
All,
yeah.
all the places. We got a little bit of housekeeping to tackle on our end real quick here. We do have our March poll currently posted on our Patreon website. If you guys support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this March. Juice, this is your takeover month. Tell us all about the poll. What's going on?
Yeah, this takeover theme is dark Disney. We are doing some of the darker themed Disney films. Um, Black Hole, the big black hole of time, of course, that one's up there. Something Wicked This Way Comes, and Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. And we're heading into our final week of, oh, well, no, I guess we're halfway.
About halfway.
We
Yeah.
got some
We're
time
getting
left
there.
on this poll. But Bob, how those numbers looking so far?
Well, we had a dead heat last week. That has changed. So last place is still Black Hole with 23% of the vote. Second place, we got Something Wicked This Way Comes, 36%. And Pirates on top with 41% of the vote.
Still
Nice. I
close.
just watched Dead Man's Chest for the first time in a while.
Oh yeah.
I was doing some research on the East India trading company
Mm.
and the East India and I refused to read. And so I
Went
watched
straight to
that
the source.
yeah. So I learned about the Kraken, which has nothing to do with anything we were talking about. But it was a blast. No Black Cauldron?
No,
We
I
talked
have
about it.
actually never seen Black Cauldron, so I
It's
wasn't
pucker,
sure
man.
where it fit. So yeah, I didn't end up that. Next year we'll do a Dark
Yeah.
Disney Deuce,
We're
and
only
Yeah.
talking about the
we'll
scariest
do
Disney
Return to
movie,
Oz and
Pirates of the
Black
Caribbean.
Cauldron. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
They've got some
Mr.
choices, yeah.
Mr. Boogedy. Mr.
Mm,
Boogedy was a
Mr. Boogedy,
classic.
yeah.
I
yeah.
love that
That's a
There's
good
one.
one.
some Disney Channel originals that actually they fit on that horror spectrum pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. Just like as like they're just scary to watch, really, because you can't believe that movie got made.
that's that's usually the case with Disney Channel originals, but yeah.
Hell yeah. Get your votes in before the end of the month. We'll see what we're talking about this March. In other Patreon news, we're dropping mini casts every other Friday. This past Friday, we just dropped one on Squid Game Season 2. Juice, you were talking about that, as well as like the cultural differences as far as like how
Yeah.
it's received in Korea and versus America.
Well, since it was a show, sometimes the shows are hard because they're so much longer to cover in a mini cast. So
Yeah.
instead of just focus on like plot by plot, yeah, try to focus on some of the more characters and their impact on like some of the cultural setting and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a fun little mini cast to do.
Yeah, something a little different. Check that out over on our Patreon website. Next up, Friday the 28th, we're dropping a mini cast on Presence. I'm talking about that one. Pretty interesting Steven Soderbergh movie, a haunted house movie shot from the point of view of the ghost haunting the house. Something different, something interesting. I think it was shot on an iPhone. I know he'd done that once before with Unsane,
Yeah.
Yeah.
was another pretty interesting experimental kind of movie. This kind of has a similar vibe, but it's a haunted house movie with Lucy Liu in it too. Solid.
Yeah, it was good. It was I saw it in the theater a couple of weeks ago. It was
Yeah.
more like emotional than scary, you know? Like
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
it made me like tear up a couple times. And so
Yeah.
it was a weird way to go through it. I think it's gonna be like down the road, like a really big movie for teens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Could be,
It
yeah.
it is surprisingly heartfelt. Like there was like the end got me anyways, which we won't spoil here. But yeah,
It was
worth
the
checking out.
dog. The dog did it. No, this guy.
The house is haunted by the dog. That's the surprise. That's the rug pull.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, check that out over on Patreon. And I think that's really all we got going on over there. Do you guys have anything else you need to plug?
Yeah, as per usual, like the past several episodes, we're just now wrapping up the fourth season of the Second and Sea album with Don't Believe the Hype, which is an Arctic Monkeys podcast going through the entire catalog of the band. And I think it's going to be a two-parter per usual. You know how much I like to jaw on about the Monkeys. So,
We
yeah,
know all
that's
about the jaw.
yeah, that's all about that their their fourth album. And so yeah, that'll be coming out in two parts this week and then next week as well. So you can check that out on all your podcatchers. Don't believe the hype.
Don't do
That's
it.
all I
I
got.
got not a damn thing myself. Bob, you all clean over there?
We got a new episode of Let's Get Physical Media, which is going to be out at the time of you listening to this episode. Your boy Mikey and I are talking about all the movies that we bought throughout the month of January. It is a double stuffed episode, man. It's like 2 hours long. We
Jesus
talk
Christ.
about,
You say this every fucking month.
I
Every
know
month.
it was like October's the bloodbath. It's like that was 2 months.
dude, Bloodbath came early, January. We talked about probably close to 50 movies,
Oh
honestly. It's a
my
lot.
God.
Holy
Oh my
shit.
God. What are you doing? You're supposed to save money in January. Everyone
I
knows.
fucked up.
Dude, a dude gets gift cards, you know.
A dude
That's the
gets gift
thing, you
cards.
know. Those
Yeah,
A dude
I'm gonna-
might get a
Christmas
tax
gift cards
return.
are still hanging
My
around.
money's on about like 3% gift card purchases. That's my personal gift.
I'm like
And that might be hard.
98% gift cards. I just got real
Okay,
no
all
cash
right.
at all whatsoever.
Well, somebody's running a Nigerian print scam then. 'Cause I don't know how the fuck else
Just
you're
send
getting
me
these gift cards.
$500. I'll send you 2,000 back. I promise.
A dude scams gift cards. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? But yeah, check out Let's Get Physical Media everywhere you get podcasts. I think our house is clean.
This house is clean.
All right, let's get into the main event. We are talking Signs, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, I saw you have this box. How many versions of this box do you have?
I think I have two. I got the Blu-ray, and then this is the
I
4K.
think I have two.
I think
Whoa,
so. The 4K came out a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. This is
Oh,
somewhat
really?
recent, anyways. Yeah.
let me see that cover again. Why does it look like fucking Twilight Breaking
Yeah,
Dawn?
it does look
kinda
like
does.
Twilight, yeah.
Like,
It
Yeah.
kind of does. Yeah. The faces.
Joaquin and the Edward, like pale face ass
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
sex pot.
Are you
Yeah.
team Gibson? Nobody's team Gibson at this point.
I don't think-
that was a
I don't
dumb
think I'm-
question.
I'm playing Sweden on this one. I don't want anything to do with these teams.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
the
you're
new
right.
king of Hollywood. What are we, what are we talking about?
Yeah. But yeah, I got this box. You can buy this anywhere. You can stream it. You can rent it. Signs is inescapable, really. So yeah, this is rated PG-13. Came out in 2002 with a runtime of an hour and 46 minutes. This was written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, the new Spielberg, as most people refer to him as.
No.
What was that? What was that? Entertainment Weekly or some shit?
Yeah, some magazine.
cover
I think
story
it was.
them?
I think it was right after this
Variety,
movie
maybe?
came out, or maybe The Village. Yeah, I
It
think,
had
yeah,
to have been because he was
Variety.
in a cornfield in the fucking photo. It had to be.
Okay, so it was after. Yeah, the new Spielberg, and then he was like, "Hold my beer." What?
Man, sometimes you really just go all in on something and just have to live with it for the rest of your life.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh boy. This stars Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix, Rory Culkin. Introducing Abigail Breslin here. A handful of other folks are in this. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. A widowed former reverend living with his children and brother on a Pennsylvania farm finds mysterious crop circles in their fields, which suggests something more frightening to come. Sounds like we've all seen this movie before, but would you recommend folks at home check it out? Ed, why don't you kick us off, man? You recommend this?
If you're an M. Night fan, you definitely have to check it out because it's one of his like, I don't know, three watchable movies in my opinion. But I would say I saw this when I was in film school in Tallahassee, Florida. And I remember when I saw it because I was in film school, I was appalled by it. I was like, oh, this is trash. I hate it. Now I rewatched it for the first time to prep for this podcast, and I gotta say it was better than I remembered. There are elements to it that are a lot of fun. The way they deliver on like revealing the aliens are very Spielberg-esque. You just get a little bit at a time. It's like it's got your feelings of Jaws in there when you don't really know what's exactly the monster is, and then. I don't know. I feel like if you like a good alien movie, this one's like tame. It's kind of like a good introduction to someone who's a little younger, maybe, and you don't want to like totally freak them out with the movie Alien. This might be a good one to like break them into. And, as much as like however it ends, I do like a movie that's like kind of godless. And so I appreciate it. I appreciate it for that matter as well. But yeah, overall, I'd give it a C, if I was grading it. But C's get degrees, man, and so check.
Shyamalan just keeps saying it. Keep
Yeah,
saying
oh,
Man.
Shamalama Ding Dong.
In his case, it has to be an average. I don't think-
C. Night Shyamalan. I think he just changed his name. Randy, what about you?
Yeah, so I like this is gonna be tough for me. I have a real soft spot for this movie. I was pretty young when I saw this. I would consider it like one of the earlier horror films that I saw in theaters. Like if you could even call it horror, like I don't know. We're pretty loose with that. I think so, but I don't know. For me, I would say yeah. If you haven't seen this and you like M. Night Shyamalan, I think you fucked up pretty bad. But otherwise, yeah, it's to me a pretty good intro to like Ed said, pretty good intro for a younger person. I have a real soft spot for it. I have experiences and watching it in the theater was fucking mind-boggling. There was a gentleman sitting behind me in this
Oh, boy.
stadium seating who at one point just stood up and started full speed sprinting in place right above my fucking head because he was so nervous. This fucking crowd was in the movie.
Damn.
It was one of the better theater experiences I've ever had. I'm pretty sure I brought it up at one point or another. So anyway, long story short is I would recommend it. It's very close to my heart. I find it hard to be objective about this movie. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Right on. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, we all know I'm quite the Shyamalan hater. But this is one that I would recommend people check out. I think we get a lot too of horror fans who are trying to introduce somebody to horror, or maybe have kids or something like that. And this is one of those films that is quite accessible and can be a type of gateway horror for a younger audience or just people not really into horror. I think it's just got that kind of like a general appeal. And now that it's older, I think it's kind of it's fun in the way of like, not necessarily like folklore, but in that kind of realm of, the crop circles, and they're using old TVs and stuff, so it feels like a little more vintage now. And yeah, it's kind of fun for that, but definitely one of Shyamalan's best. One of the few Shyamalan films I'm not just gonna shit all over when we have to review it. So that's a nice twist for me. But yes, so generally, yeah, I think most people would probably have a decent to good time with this film. So yeah. Bob, how about you? Would you recommend people check this out?
Yeah, totally. This is when this movie came out, we were the perfect age, like 13, potentially 14. This is a PG-13 movie, and I think it really nails that intro to science fiction, to old school alien movies. That it takes a lot of the like classic tropes from black and white movies and also just like folklore, like the Phoenix Lights and shit like that, and just sort of distills it and delivers it in a very like easily consumed package. So I think it really works for what it is. And generally, I would, yeah, just recommend it kind of across the board. Probably have a bit of a soft spot for it too, just because, like I said, it came out at the perfect time for for us to see it. But yeah, I recommend it. So yeah, check it out. One of Shyamalan's better movies for sure. It sounds like just generally speaking across the board, I recommend from all of us, really.
It was fun.
So
yeah. What did we think the guy who owns 2 copies was going to say?
Well,
I own movies.
That is
no
not.
guarantee
Yeah,
of
that is not an
anything.
indication of enjoyment.
This man,
I
I
have
have
a
a
go ahead and
4% of that collection.
I might have it on VHS too, so maybe there's 3 copies floating around here. I don't know. I can't
The
count
preferred
anymore
version.
on VHS. So yeah, check out Signs. We are going to be spoiling the shit out of this movie, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Whoa, Bob, did you type up that plot synopsis?
Topped it up.
Topped
for
up
you.
that plot synopsis.
Topped it up. Yeah, here we go. Here is the full plot for the movie, Signs. So, former Episcopal priest Graham Hess lives on a rural farm in Pennsylvania with his young children, Morgan and Bo. His wife has passed away in a car accident 6 months prior, and since then, his younger brother and failed minor league baseball player Merrill has been living on the farm as well. The passing of Graham's. We cannot stop talking about minor league baseball. It's out of control.
This is the only thing. I just want minor league baseball horror to be the genre that this podcast covers.
That's what we cover now, I guess. Apparently, the passing of Graham's wife caused him to lose his faith and leave the church. Crop circles soon begin appearing on their cornfields, but they assume it's just vandals until the crop circles and mysterious lights start appearing in several cities all over the world. They also see strange figures in the cornfields and capture bizarre clicking noises on Bo's baby monitor. Shocking video footage out of Brazil further terrifies the family by showing footage of an actual alien at a birthday party. Ray Reddy, the man who fell asleep at the wheel and accidentally killed Graham's wife, gives Graham a mysterious phone call. Graham goes over to check on him. Ray expresses remorse for what's happened. He also says he captured an alien in his pantry, and he thinks that aliens don't like water much. Then he just hauls ass.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole?
That's a fair question. Graham uses the blade of a knife as a mirror to slide under the pantry door to get a glimpse at the alien. A claw swipes at him. He ends up cutting the alien's fingers off in a moment of panic and runs out the house. The family barricades themselves in their own house as the full-blown alien invasion happens. Morgan has an asthma attack, but they all end up surviving the night. The next morning, they come out of the basement and they hear on the radio that the aliens all left in a big hurry as if something scared them off. The alien whose fingers Graham cut off is inside the house and grabs Morgan. It tries to spray poisonous gas into his nose, but the asthma keeps the gas from being inhaled. Graham tells Meryl to swing away, which were his wife's dying words. Meryl grabs the baseball bat off the wall and smashes several glasses of water serendipitously left throughout the house by Bo. The water burns the alien, and Meryl finishes the job with one final bash to its head. Graham takes Morgan outside and gives him the medication as he realizes the culmination of all these seemingly random and meaningless things, signs, if you will, have saved his family and restored his faith in a higher power. The family begins living life normally, and Graham returns to the church. Roll those credits. There you go.
Damn. That's I don't know, it's a pretty solid plot line. I think it hangs together really, really nicely. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be just glowing about this fucking thing.
Well, let me know. I actually don't. I would say that this is probably my most enjoyable watch of this film. I don't know the last time I saw it. Not too long ago. But it's been a while, a few years, I would say at least. And I would say like having to analyze this more, it would definitely was my more like the most enjoyable watch I think that I've ever had. And I was considering like, is this maybe the Shyamalan film I like the most? Because even when we covered Sixth Sense, yeah, I was not as hot on it at that time. Like that watch wasn't as rewarding as this watch was, having revisited them after both a long time. But yeah, I thought the brother dynamics were like really like I guess just in general the family dynamics were quite touching this time around. The brother like looking up to his older brother, but also like showing up to like help him out. The kids being like kind of weird and like young and still kind of traumatized, and like and then the dog dies and stuff. And they have to like show up there for each other. So I like the family dynamic this time around. It worked well.
I agree. Yeah.
2 dogs die. Don't forget.
Dude.
Yeah.
One you just have to listen to it happen. Yeah.
Which is oddly more brutal.
It kind of is, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Because it gave it. You could tell it tried its best. You know,
Yeah.
poor
Isabel.
Yeah. It gave it her best shot, but she couldn't beat the aliens. But what
He kind of pulled they just forgot to bring her in too. That was the thing that
They forgot a
pissed me
lot
off.
of things. That,
Well, to
seemed
be
really
fair, I mean,
important.
you're boarding up your house because aliens are on
I
the way.
get
I
it,
mean,
but-
that's like,
But
Yeah.
the inhaler, Chekhov's inhaler. You gotta
Always.
remember
Put
your
that shit
kid's
in his
medicine.
pocket at all
Right.
times. This is
Have
not
them all
hard.
over the house. What are we doing?
Yeah. Well, how do you only have one? Exactly. Yeah. Have one in every single room. What's going on here? That trope typically drives me nuts. In this movie, it doesn't bother me much because they don't use it as a really lame excuse to do something really stupid, like go back to a house that's like burning down or whatever. They kind of don't even fucking try to get it at all. They just deal with the asthma like in the moment in a really heartfelt way, actually, with like Mel Gibson like cursing God while at the same time telling his son to like have faith that he's gonna be able to breathe again. And it's like this internal struggle, which
It was
works pretty
very
well.
Gene Hackman Poseidon adventure, just cursing at the
Yeah.
Lord, just like
Yeah, dude.
it's like, God damn you, son of a bitch! But it also shows that he never lost faith.
Right,
Just-
really,
he,
yeah.
he just hated God.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
it's
Is yeah,
just an
like
interesting
I
thing.
thought that was so interesting when I was like fucking 13 watching this movie. I was like, wow, he didn't stop believing. He just resents God. I didn't know that was a thing you could do.
You
let
got
me get in on
buddy.
that.
Let me get in on
You ever heard of
Actually,
Slayer?
I gotta give it to old Mel Gibson. Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of good films actually. I mean, Braveheart and stuff like that. But I mean, his I hate you, that moment, or even the speech that he has actually to old Shyamalan too. Most of the time, even in Sixth Sense, I was like, man, Shyamalan's dialogue. Going back and revisiting Shyamalan's films, he's really bad at dialogue. Like even
That's why
like
I can't watch him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So even in like The Village, Joaquin Phoenix is in that too. And I remember watching that and be like, I'm watching some good actors. I know these actors are good. And this dialogue is so fucking garbage. And so I was kind of happy to revisit this film and be like, okay, this isn't garbage, right? Like for the most, like the speech Mel Gibson kind of gives, not speech, but the dialogue they're having
Monologue kind
about
of thing.
monologue about the fate,
Signs, all
there's
that
two
stuff.
people and they're
Yeah.
separate. And then when he turns into like nobody's here to save us or nobody's here to help you or whatever, it's like this is actually some of the best lines I've ever seen in any Shyamalan film, honestly.
He's so
Yeah.
subtle with it. Like I really like the way he got it across because it'd be so easy for it to fall into like just straight melodrama, and because he's just like he's very self-possessed about what he feels about this stuff or what he's saying. And he's like, well, I mean, do you? He's like, well, Joaquin's like, well, what do you think then? And he's like, well, I mean, it doesn't matter. You're comforted, right? And then he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, whatever. And he's like, and he can't resist. He's just like, yeah, nobody's coming to help us. That shit's
I
not happening.
I
Like,
honestly thought it was a little on the nose, like Mel
oh well,
Gibson's
yeah.
speech. But the thing that balanced it out, like it wasn't terrible, but the thing that really balanced it out for me actually was Meryl Joaquin Phoenix's like comedic story about him being a man of faith because he's like at a party with his drunk girl and he goes in for a kiss and then he forgets he has gum in his mouth so he leans away to pull the gum out and she pukes all over herself and he's like, yeah, I believe I'm a miracle man. Like
A
that's
miracle
his proof
man.
that God exists. That shit's hilarious. It kind of
It's a
balances the
good
scales.
balance. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, that's the thing is like they really do balance the humor in this, which is I think more than the dialogue. What bothers me about Shyamalan is he never knows when to pull the comedy punch and when to lay down the hammer of drama. It really seems like he just has a hard time balancing those things, and it's just perfectly balanced in this one to me.
Well, also we talked about earlier when people were mentioning he's the new Spielberg and stuff.
Mhm.
You got Marshall and Kennedy are producing this thing. Kathleen
Yeah.
Kennedy and Marshall, they work with Spielberg on almost anything. They're part of DreamWorks, and like now, Kathleen Kennedy's taken over Star Wars and everything. So he really does have like Spielberg's people behind him, coaching him
Mhm.
throughout this entire movie. And that's why I think more than most, it has that Spielberg feel.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's a
that
good
might be
call.
true.
Yeah.
I mean that
Yeah.
between that and just like straight up just the correlation to like Close Encounters and shit like that.
And
Like
yeah, the alien aspect, but
that,
also the family drama. That's very
yeah,
Spielberg is like
but
the
it's
the
centered on the
family
family.
drama.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
parent missing. They're either divorced or there's one dead.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
in Spielberg. There's always a sick kid for some reason and a little girl. It's basically E.T., but like everyone sucks. And I will say one of the one things that I found very interesting is like watching this movie, 20 something years later, is that 2002 uh, is right after 9/11. And
Hmm.
and then the 24-hour news cycle is almost like a character in this movie, and how like we've become obsessed with like reading the news and glued to our television and what weird thing is going to happen. It's like he was like commenting on how we all became obsessed with the news, and this was the very beginning of all that, because you
Mhm.
remember like 9/11 started, like we were all watching the news. You guys are a little younger than me, but like that was the first time the ticker ever existed on the bottom of the screen when you were getting news, when you were reading news while you were listening to news, and there's other stuff in the corner. And so I think it's really became like it was inspired by 9/11, and like now like what would happen if aliens ever came, like with all the news that we have in the 24-hour cycle. And I felt like that was really cool, and how they wanted people to stay away from the television and not get too absorbed by it. And it was almost like
And
it was almost a bad, like the only bad guy in the movie in a weird way.
That's a good call
That's the one.
because even like the recommendation, the cop says, get the kids out of the house, get them away from the TV, go into town and do some normal stuff. But of course, as soon as they go into town, you go into the pharmacy, the radio is on. Like
Hmm.
it's ever present even when you're trying to live out your daily life, like everybody else has it on. And so it gets to the point where he just like, of course they're like, okay, we'll put the TV on in here. And they kind of give up and kind of have to watch the news. But yeah, I did notice that as well. And that was a good element of it. But I want to say too, from the very beginning of this, another thing Shyamalan did well is this through the very beginning there's this good tension that's just an unsettling amount of tension constantly. It's
Mhm.
enough to where I was thinking you like a normal or like an audience who isn't watching horror films, or maybe people who aren't even really into horror films, are really going to be on edge through a lot of this, just because even in the quiet moments of the house, even when they're just
Mhm.
talking, it feels unsettling. It feels like at any moment something like can shatter the silence or something. And
Dude,
it's really good actually, I think, the tension.
honestly, I think you're dead right about that. And like there you're touching on two things that I think sell that, and that's the sound design in this movie is fucking great.
It
Like my
is.
dogs were losing their fucking mind watching this
Mine
movie with the
was
between
too,
the dog
actually.
yours too, yeah. But
Yeah,
like just straight up watching the movie and freaking out when the dogs freak out and freaking out when they hear the
yeah.
clicking, like all these things, it really goes a long way. And also, there's so much silence in this movie. There's a ton of it, and it's like that leaves an unsettling air to like a family situation, like a family. Granted, it's an isolated farm, but like this is like young kids and stuff, and they're so quiet. They're
I
like because
think
they're traumatized,
the
and it makes sense.
score goes a long way
And the
to add to
score is
that as
another one
well.
too, actually.
This is
Yeah,
one of my favorite scores, I think, period. Honestly, it is.
yeah.
I probably should have looked up who wrote it. I did not, but it does have
It
that
was.
John Williams like Jaws vibe where it's like instead of two notes, it's like three notes. It's really really simple, but it makes you feel like you're watching this like science fiction fucking movie. It feels like it's out of the 50s or something. I
And it
really
plays
really
with
think
that
it's
silence
effective.
too, actually.
Yeah,
Like there's a lot of
yeah,
like hard contrast where the horns just like land right in there, especially in like the credits. You hear that really quickly.
yeah.
But
It's
like the other thing
great.
I was going to bring up, because that is also true, I had forgotten that. So there's three prongs to this actually. But also like the way things are shot, it's like I can see the storyboards playing out in front of my eyes. It's just like comic booky, where like you have that scene, for example, where Mel Gibson's just seen a gray out in the fucking cornfield. He comes in and like you're getting a close up of Merrill looking at his army pamphlet. The kids playing and washing the dishes, very domestic, very normal. And Mel just kind of slowly ambles in, and slowly all the attention just starts getting absorbed directly into him, and he's like, okay, we need to start doing something. And like the tension of that
He says
is
we can
like
turn on the
entirely
TV
because of the
now.
blocking. Like it's
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And that's when
I
they
don't know.
see the fucking the Phoenix lights, but they're over like Mexico City, I think, not
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Hmm.
But I love how they pull that in, like this very like cultural moment. This it's like a bedrock piece of like science fiction and just like, real quote real aliens. I don't know if that's
Hmm.
real. You probably know more about it than any of us, Ed. I know you guys talk about a lot of that stuff on last podcast.
I have been thrown into the alien world.
Yeah.
They have I knew nothing a year and a half ago, and now like I'm playing alien conferences and interviewing George Knapp and the Fire in the Sky guy. So it's
Getting your butt probed and everything.
oh yeah, I've learned a lot, but I'm still in the process of learning. It seemed like he had used like every alien thing that existed at that time. And like more stuff has like come like since then, like aliens living underwater and stuff like
Mhm.
that has come over time, which I'm sure he would reuse in Signs too if he ever made it. But the but I would say it was pretty, as far as like the alien world goes, pretty accurate it like in what people see and what people are scared of. The crop circles thing is always cool. Obviously there's a way to make them, and they even talk about that in the movie a little bit. So I was very I was impressed by that. But I well, the Phoenix Light stuff is awesome. It looks just like it. It's also, I feel like something, I don't know why they didn't bring it up, because the Phoenix Lights is like the one thing that makes me like think that there is something that holds weight to
Yeah.
aliens and extraterrestrials and all that stuff, is because everyone saw it. It can't be explained, and it's like
Hmm.
on the news, and like, and then everyone just, I don't know, choose to forget about it. But obviously there's something weird going on. And I just think that I don't if I don't think in reality there's anything to actually worry about because I'm sure they would have killed us by now if that was their plan.
We're more than
Yeah, we're
capable of
living
killing
there.
ourselves. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm more
but
worried about my fellow Americans than I am about any
We're a
yeah, no,
green
simulation,
monsters.
man. Don't worry about
dude.
anything.
If only. I wish I could wake up in a pod tomorrow. Uh, but like, yeah, I think that's like this movie has. I don't know. We're big Robert Eggers dorks around here. We
Love
really
them.
like the way he sort of like takes lore and just like takes it extremely seriously and allows it to be the scary thing that it originated as instead of letting it be the sort of like joke of itself it becomes. I think this movie has some of that. Like they do a little
Totally,
bit
yeah.
of like winking at the camera with the tinfoil hats and with the oh these are nerds with no girlfriends and all that all those lines or whatever. Meryl's point of view basically
Yeah.
for the majority of the movie. Like I think that like aside from those things which are there for a good reason to bring levity back into things and keep that balance going. Otherwise, it's like they're like these are grays. These are like as far as I've ever known alien lore, as it were. This is it. Like this is really
Yeah.
fitting the bill, and it's pulling from a lot of various sources to do this at the same time. So it
Well,
feels Eggersy to me.
there's a specific moment that I think he uses really well to kind of highlight that moment that you're talking, that point that you're kind of talking about. And it's when he's flipping through the book because at first you have these really basic goofy drawings of aliens, and he flips through and he flips through and they're ridiculous looking and they're like look like child's drawings and stuff like that. And then he gets to the picture of the UFO that's burning down the house that looks exactly like their house with the dead bodies, the three dead bodies in the front yard. And suddenly it's not a joke anymore. Suddenly it scares them because it hits home. It's not this child. It's like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
that looks like our home. Hey, that looks like our dead bodies on the front lawn. And
Yeah.
that's
Huh.
a really great moment to say, like, people say, like can is easy to brush away when it sounds silly or it sounds like a children's story, but then when you're confronted with an alien in your cornfield or you see one walking through the streets of Brazil or something or Mexico, then it becomes like immediately your tone changes. You are
Mm-hmm.
immediately scared, like you're immediately able to accept that there's a threat out there, and I'm terrified for my I thought that was like a really great moment that's used. And this film has some iconic moments like the alien, walking across the little alleyway. And then
Yeah,
also too having the alien
the
trapped in the
pantry.
pantry. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
like him kind of like reaching out and cutting the fingers off. Like that's always stuck out in my mind as like a key scene from this film.
It was a lot
For
of fun.
sure.
Now, going back to the book thing you were talking about, that's ripped straight from Jaws. Like them sitting
True.
around
Yeah.
reading the
Good
Yeah.
book
call.
and like and the
Yeah.
mom is like
Yeah.
looking at the book and she doesn't care about the sharks and then
Yeah.
she sees the shark going through the boat and she's like, get out. It's just like that is
Yeah.
like that is straight Jaws. And all
Did
I
you
feel
hear
like
your father?
yeah.
Turns
And
on
so
a dime.
you know what other I know we're talking about signs, but Nope is also just Jaws. Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
movie is like all Jaws, and so I think there's a lot of that works. It's like the unknown is so
Mhm.
terrifying, and even when it is known. In the Brazil scene, it's interesting how much he does with nothing. Like the Brazil, I mean, it's just an alien walking across, and yet I got chills when I saw it again. Like I remember when I saw it in the theater, people fucking screamed. Like it was wild. And so I think that he really was like a master of suspense, especially back then.
Yeah.
Really, like I remember being in the theater, like that's the scene where the guy was running up above me, like running in a like full
That's
click or
nuts.
just above my head. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is surround sound. But like it's like as I'm watching that and as I see this thing go across, what you expect to happen is you see another hint of something. But this motherfucker just trucks across the alleyway and you get a full glimpse and it's like, oh shit. Like this is just really, really effective way to reveal this monster. And because of the grain of it all and like the very 90s camera that they're using in that in
Mm.
storyline, it also still has a little bit of like it's not like you're seeing it in HD. You know what I mean? You're not seeing a
Yeah.
fucking Transformer movie where this is an alien in Transformers. This is just a fucking like blurry thing. And it feels like found footagey in its own way. So I
Yeah.
don't know, man. I really really love that. Like if there's any scene in this movie that I think is unimpeachably great, I think it's that.
That birthday, it is filmed perfectly. It is like one of the first, like, now we're so used to people like filming their own stuff and it being scary because of TikTok and Instagram Reels and all that stuff. But back in 2002, camcorder horror wasn't that much of a thing. We had like Blair Witch Project and that's it, and like Halloween Resurrection maybe, like
Classic.
there wasn't much going on as far as like found footage yet. And I felt like this movie has like touches of different types of horror movies, I think, because it starts as just like Independence Day, or like it turns into Independence Day at some point, and then it turns into like a fucking home invasion horror movie, and it just like it's
Mhm.
like it goes like all different ways. And I thought it was you could see how he was inspired in so many different ways when making this film. I did find it weird that like, it's always with M. Night, there's always like a stupid solution, right? In every one of his movies, like the stupid tree movie and all that stuff. But it's just like at the end of all of this shit, it's like water. Like really? Like it's just water. It's the earth is they couldn't see the water from
You came to the
space.
water
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
75% water. Like, what are you like? Come on. Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's like, and then the
You
people
know,
who found out is like the one part of the world where there is no water are the ones that found out that they defeat them through water. And so it's just like, it was very interesting, the choices that were made as far as that goes. And, but yeah, on a whole, though, it's like I said, better than I remembered it.
Well, the thing about that is, I was watching it this time because that was sticking in my mind. Like, okay, we're heading to the ending, and I know that's quite dumb. Is the problem I had with it is it's completely unnecessary, and here's why: is all you have to do is say that they left like we don't know why they left. Like they suddenly the
mhm.
news can say they suddenly left, they took off, we don't know why. And that even leaves a little bit of suspension. Like, are they coming back? Like what the fuck? Like what's going on? And then you could still have this one that we know would be left behind because it was stuck in the pantry. And all you need to have is Merle beat his ass with the bat. You don't need the water to burn it. You don't need
Well,
that explanation at
It's
all.
definitely
You
cooler to kill a alien with a bat than a glass of
to
water.
make the
Yeah.
big point of the
that's the
signs where
thing.
like
But
every family member has a
Yeah,
but
separate
it
that's Bo's
but you don't I
contribution.
know, but you don't it's not
It's
necessary.
justified. It's justified in order to it's writing backwards, right? Like they need
Yeah.
yeah,
every
totally.
character
Yeah.
to have their role in this confluence of happenstance that leads to them being able to overcome this insurmountable otherwise thing, except unless you have a pantry door, I guess. But like so I get it. Like
A
I
bit of wood,
understand
yeah.
this, like the arc of the family, the arc of Mel Gibson's character, all those things, that is what's taking precedent. And because the performances are so good, and because I feel like I can feel the emotions that are happening between these families because that's so strong, I really don't care. I don't really care that it's a dumb solution, honestly, because I remember when I was like a kid, like a week after seeing this, somebody brought that up to me. I was like, oh yeah. And like, but does that actually ruin it for me? And I was like, no, it's still fucking great. I've
Yeah.
seen this movie a bunch of times since, and I still get the same feelings because it's ultimately like this is still at its core a silly lore movie, like based, it's magical thinking. This is like nothing's the rules are whatever you say the rules are, and as long
Yeah,
as I get something out of it from an emotional standpoint and from a fear standpoint, which I do, I don't really fucking care.
that's
Yeah,
a
the
good way of
actors
looking at
sell
it.
it. The
Yeah,
actors really, really sell it, and that pushes it over the edge. The thing that like if it didn't land emotionally, then you'd be like, this movie is extremely
Right,
stupid.
like The
But
Happening.
yeah, the
Or
yeah.
flashback
pick a
where
movie, I
Graham
don't know.
is talking to his wife for the last time really hits emotionally for me. And then at the very end, where the little boy he wakes up. You think he might actually be dead, but he wakes up and he says, "Did somebody save me?" And Mel Gibson's crying. He's like, "Yeah, I think someone did," meaning his mom, which is that like really hits home for me. It's a bit hokey, totally. I could get why someone might not like it,
It is
but it
okay.
lands the plane for me, I
It
think.
annoyed
is, like,
me
sorry, go
just
ahead.
where they put it.
Yeah,
Right in the middle of the climax of the last
that's
scene,
fair. Yeah.
I feel like it would have been a great cold open. I feel like of the whole fucking movie and just do the
Yeah.
whole scene. I feel like we would have forgotten about it, and then when it came back to us in that moment,
Mm.
I feel like that would have been a little better storytelling device. But also,
Mhm.
who the hell am I? I've never made a horror movie, so
You're no Spielberg.
Look, if that was the barrier for having an opinion on this, we would be
Right.
fucked on this show.
No show. Yeah.
But yeah, no, there was a lot of stupid things in the movie. Are we supposed to believe that the alien is like because we see that it has two fingers lopped up. That's totally
Mhm.
healed. So now we have to just assume they heal really fast or like weeks have passed. And but or like did he like specific this alien, he or she, or they, I don't know, it's an alien. And the
It looks like a squashed octopus.
Did he hunt down Mel Gibson for
I
revenge?
guess.
Like,
I
is this like, are
guess.
we supposed to believe that's why, or is
Look,
it just, or is it another coincidence? Like that's like, come on, like what's really happening there? And I would have
I
kept the
mean,
fingers too. If I'm Mel Gibson, I chop off alien fingers. I'm putting those things in my pocket. I'm keeping those
Oh
things.
They're
yeah,
going
yeah,
on the
yeah.
grill.
Yeah.
put him on a necklace like Nom. Um, fucking yeah, I don't know, man. Like the whole like the pantry thing or what, like I don't know. You could like I could really pick apart this movie, and then people have like it's very dumb in some of its devices or whatever, but like the end point is so strong for me. I don't really mind. And I think there's a number of ways like some of the things you guys said about it, like I didn't really parse it that way. Like I didn't parse it as somebody saved me, as in somebody saved you, as in the mom. I took that to mean his faith was restored in God. Like that was God that saved
Oh.
him, and
Oh,
who
okay.
delivered that message through his wife. So, and the next scene is him putting the cloth back on. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I don't
Well,
know. I really like. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that.
no, that's fine. But then at the same time, God's an asshole for sending the aliens. Like
Right.
I
it
mean, that's a
falls into
philosophy. That's more than a PG-13 philosophy argument.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
maybe God's just in charge of Earth and a different God's in charge of those
Yeah.
aliens and they're
Yeah.
fighting. And so we're just the victims here. But I think a lot of this movie fell into like a problem I have with a lot of horror movies, and I think this goes back to what Justin was saying earlier. I just explained too much. I like a little mystery. I like to come up with the solution in my head. And for a movie that like hides so much from us the entire time, to over explain it right at the very end is kind of annoying to
Mhm.
me. And I think like when it comes
Yeah.
to most horror movies, like once they just start going into, well, the devil did this because of that, and he's got this
Mhm.
vengeance because of this, and this demon hates this because of that person. It's like, just be weird and be like, and just like make me think too much. And that's one thing that M. Night doesn't do. He like removes all of that from you by the end of the movie and spoon
That's
feeds it
true.
to his audience. And it's one of the things that bother me about it. Also, like, I know we're talking about Signs in an Alien movie, but it's like something that bothers me about every exorcism movie that's ever
Mhm.
existed is they all end the same goddamn way. It's just people yelling at the demon till he gets annoyed to go back to hell. And it's just like, and so it's I'm gonna say the same thing over and over again. It's like, yes, it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it, but it definitely has its flaws and it's over
Mhm.
explaining and
I
dumb.
know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
Yeah, and well, and having seen Shyamalan's other films, I think that is on point. And one of the reasons why the water bothers me more now than maybe like Randy said originally, like I might be like, it doesn't really take away from me. But for me, knowing where Shyamalan ends up, that kind of shows more of his lack of
It's a
filmmaking
hint
ability
at
because we
horrible
see it
decisions to come.
exactly where you were saying maybe people are kind of like reining him in more or guiding him in a better way because he does make those choices to where it's like, does it like really ruin the film? No, but also at the same time, does it show that like it's absolutely not necessary to have that, and it is a flaw in the overall storytelling, which he has deeply. But one thing I do want to give credit to, because I knock him a lot, is we touched on it earlier, but the comedy in here, it works well in where it's placed, but also makes the characters quite endearing. So, but not just the characters that we know, but when he goes to the military office, and
Yeah.
That
that
guy.
The
sergeant or whatever
recruiter.
is talking about like beautiful women sucking on your toes, and I was like, what the fuck is this? But
That's what
also,
minor league baseball players get, man. Don't you
yeah,
know?
but also like the
Michael
first scene,
Showalter showing up.
Yeah, that was so
yeah,
bizarre.
Oh, I was like, I know who that is, but I can't place it. Showalter. Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
But also that the scene when they think it's the brothers or whatever, and they're gonna chase them around the house, and he's like, "All right, lose your mind." He's like, "Well, that was lose your mind." He's like, "Curse or whatever," and he's like, "I'm gonna whoop your ass." I'm losing my mind. And
I'm
like,
insane with anger.
I'm gonna beat your ass or what. Like
I
it's just
love that
really
shit.
funny and in an
Yeah.
endearing way, but it was where the comedy actually like hit in an appropriate way, which he is typically also not very good at. So I was like, okay, here we go, you
Yeah.
know.
The
Also, we've
mid-sized
never seen.
sedan, doesn't
Yeah.
land.
Yeah, and we never seen Mel Gibson act like that either at this point, like as like someone who's a little more timid and reserved and stuff
Mhm.
like that. He's always been the dangerous lunatic. So it was a good like opposite typecast for him in that movie.
For
Yeah.
sure. Like even the
Yeah.
language he uses, like I don't know, it's very both paternal and like okay, this is somebody who works with families and kids or whatever. Because he's like, oh, you're gonna feel very silly when you find out this is all make believe, talking to the dog. Like it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something like kind of like I don't know, inherently sweet about his character, which you're right is just not an area that Mel Gibson typically plays in at all. He's not. He doesn't blow up a single goddamn thing in this movie.
No, I don't even think he punches anybody.
He doesn't. He cuts some fingers off. I'll give him that. There's some bloodletting, but that's it.
Which is
Wow.
understandable. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never thought about that, like right now, until right now. In this movie, not one punch thrown in the movie,
It's
right?
literally that Simpsons bit. Like, do you remember him on The Simpsons where he's like, they remake Mr. Smith Goes to Washington or whatever, and he's like, I don't know, I don't hit anybody in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
literally that.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, really though, think about it. Like, what other movies are there no punches in other than like Lion King? And even that, but even just because they don't have fists, but like I was just like, it's very like what's like this and I don't know, Apollo 13 maybe. But I
Bed
really, you
knobs and
really,
broomsticks might have a few punches in there. I'm not sure.
yeah. But yeah, no, I was it's very I like all the corn scenes. Corn's always very
Very
scary.
pro corn. Yeah.
Yeah,
Corn
yeah, yeah.
scenes.
Yeah, no, I mean, cool, you getting lost in there. I would have liked to seen them like more like cut up or something when they're running through all the corn. Because isn't it like very
Probably.
sharp or something? Or am I just thinking of that grass movie that
Uh,
Netflix made?
The
Sawgrass
tall
is
grass.
Yeah,
quite
Sawgrass will
sharp,
get you.
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I don't
I don't know about
think corn
corn.
is, but it's like I mean, if you're
I
running at
honestly
that
don't
speed,
know.
you might get you might have a few leaves in your shirt at least. Like I don't know, they are pretty remarkably clean and unbothered by it. So
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. When he catches
Fucking
that
corn.
alien leg in the cornfield with his flashlight, that scene is great. Actually, there's a lot of good use of light. Whenever he's, out
Mhm.
there with his flashlight, all that really works. Also in the basement after Joaquin Phoenix accidentally smashes the light bulb with the axe. That whole sequence is just so fucking tense, and they just have that like one flashlight, that one beam of light. They're sort of trying to share, and then they drop it and it rolls around and you can't quite see the action just off screen, but you hear it and the aliens are trying to
Mhm.
get in and you're like, oh my God, are they actually going to kill one of these kids? You don't really know. Like that builds such great tension in such a simple way. It's just really not showing you what's happening. It's like this movie has maybe not enough, but it does have some, it like reserves a lot of the tension in main scenes where I think latter day Shyamalan kind of loses that. I think he just wants to put everything on screen. But this is strangely enough, a more mature film than I think a lot of his latter day movies are, where he just shows you everything and you're like, this isn't really interesting because you see everything, I guess.
Mhm.
So yay, Shyamalan. Used to be able to do it. You used to do it.
Bitch!
Any other major things we want to touch on before we rate Signs? Anything come to mind?
I have
I
one
think
thing that I. Oh,
go
sorry.
for
Go
it.
ahead.
No, you go. It's your
Oh,
show.
I just wanted to point something out for the peanut gallery, which is this is yet another film in which a Culkin is denied a beautiful fancy dinner because of an invader
Dude,
coming to his space.
it's a crime.
R.I.P. macaroni and cheese of Kevin McAllister, and R.I.P. these French toast mashed potatoes.
True horror, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, eat those
It's a
French pat.
subgenre.
Yeah, well,
It's
he was
a
an
whole subgenre.
asshole too. When his dad just made him mashed potatoes and French toast, and he said, "I hate you." Come on, what are you gonna? What a little prick, ungrateful.
He should have
Uh,
been sent outside to the aliens to his death.
That's it. Get out of here.
You're out of here.
oh man.
All right.
Hosting an intergalactic kegger down here.
I was
We
going to say
are.
though, it was cool to see Joaquin Phoenix play like a normal person.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think
fair,
this is
yeah.
one of the few times it's in like the movie before this was like probably Gladiator, and so it's very interesting that he did this like right then, and
Yeah.
it was good to see him be just like a regular Joe, it must have been a struggle for him.
Dude, yeah, he's not.
Yeah. Did he start doing a lot of like ketamine or something? What's going on? What happened? He seems
Fucking Bo is
nuts.
afraid ass motherfucker. That's
He does. He
it's
seems
a
like he needs
weird
a
turn
hug.
for him.
Yeah,
Um,
man, I
let's go ahead and
love
rate
Bo is
this.
Afraid. All right,
That
go
shit
ahead.
is nuts. Let's rate this thing out of 5. Ed, why don't you kick us off, man? How do you feel? Feel free to do half points, quarter points, whatever you want.
2.5. I'm giving it a 2.5 out of 5. I think it's but I will say I'm glad I rewatched it because I would have given it a 1. And because from my memory and how I thought the movie was. And so it jumped a point and a half after watching it and realizing it has a little bit of art to it and a little bit of gravitas that I didn't remember. But as far as like actually scary, not really. But it has good tension and it has good reveals. But I give it a 2.5 out of 5.
All right, 2.5 from Ed. Randy, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting here struggling trying to decide whether or not I want to try to be objective or I just want to lean in. And I think I'm just going to lean in. I really have a soft spot for this movie. I recognize that there's like some totally valid critiques. Some people call this movie hokey. Some people, you can point out the sci-fi logic isn't totally there for sure, or at least has some holes that you can point out. And that's completely fair. For me, though, I just really love this movie. I loved it the first time I saw it. I got like a bonanza, amazing first viewing experience with a room full of people that were so bought in, and so was I. Like, I just have such fondness for this movie, and every time I watch it, I'm like, is it as good as I remember? Because there's a lot of fair critiques I can recall from the storyline, and then I watch it, I'm like, this performances, this score, the fucking blocking of these fucking shots, the audio design, like it's all just works so well for me. So for me, it's a 4.5. I'm no reservations on this shit.
4.5 from your boy Randeezy. Respect. Juice, how do you feel?
Not that good, Bob, but generally positive. Yeah, again, I shit a lot on Shyamalan, and most of the time he really deserves it. But this time I was quite surprised. There were still some problems that I actually haven't mentioned. So, the positives that he's usually bad with is I thought the acting was really good. I thought the dialogue was really good. The family dynamic was really endearing. And then even the elements of like bringing in the dogs, having them die, and like things like that worked. This scene where his wife dies worked well. I do agree that the kind of placing bothered me a little bit, for sure. So that was problematic. And then finally the comedy actually hit. Oh, the opening credits too. I really like the opening credits. It really had that retro sci-fi vibe. I did like that as well. So I thought it started off really strong. Again, like I said, I thought the tension was there, and he brought that really, really good. But some of the negatives I didn't really mention is the overall, like, I think he does his best in his time. I don't really know how, but he does kind of throw away a lot of goodwill at the end, where you're going through most of the film where you're hiding things. There's a leg here, there's a finger there and stuff. And then there's an alien standing in the daylight in the middle of your living room. Like, I don't know. I don't know
It
how
was
you.
still blurry somehow. I
Yeah, still blurry. Well, okay,
don't.
but he even shows signs of like signs. He even shows
Signs.
like hints that I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna do it anyways because when you first see it, it's a reflection in the television. So if that whole scene had played out kind of like that, or like I don't know, where it's not just a blurry alien standing in the daylight in the living room, it's just like that's not good. Like
I
I don't
think
know, like why are you
I
doing
agree,
this?
but like at the same time, I just want to say like I think that the way they could have done that is they show this too. And it's crazy that he is like able to he's like got this invisible man suit thing going on where he
Yeah,
like you can see
camouflage.
through
I
him
do.
partially.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
camouflage and like you can see Bo's face screaming and behind
Yeah.
him and all this stuff. Like that shit's great. Just do that a little more
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
whenever he's on
yeah.
camera
That's
or
a
put
good
him in a
point.
shadow a
That's a
little
good
bit more.
point.
I think that would have done it. But
My point is he knows he shouldn't do it this way, and he still does it this way. Like, and he
Mhm.
does that in so many films where it's like I feel like I'm like, Shaman, you think you're being cheeky or you think you're being clever or cute, and you're just pissing me the fuck off. Like that's how I feel about fucking Shaman. It's like your cuteness is fucking infuriating to me. Insane with it. And this is one of those moments where I'm like, Shyamalan, you know that you shouldn't fucking do this. You're telling me that you know you shouldn't do this, and you're fucking doing it anyways. Shit pisses me off. So anyways, so some of those elements still where Shyamalan's kind of like shining through with his weakest points, hit sometimes, and so that's gonna drop it a bit for me. But overall, I think this was what my favorite watch of this film, and definitely my most enjoyable Shyamalan watch, like in recent memory for sure. So I'm gonna give it like a 3.75, I think.
that's
Whoa.
much higher than I
Yeah.
thought you'd give it, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. After
Um,
talking all that shit, you gave
I
it a
know,
nice
I know, I
score.
did.
Pissing me off.
He was
3.75.
Insane with
pissing me off a
anger.
little
Okay,
bit, yeah.
4.5.
But I will the comedy and the family aspect, the music, the silence, the tension. I thought that was all good. So yeah. Bob.
I got
Oh
a,
yeah. Go
can
ahead.
I get just a quick general question? What, because I couldn't figure this part of the movie out. Remember when M. Night's in the car talking to Mel Gibson, like after when the alien's in the pantry and shit?
Hmm.
Whose blood's on his shirt? Because it looks like it's definitely on the outside of the shirt. It's not bleeding
Mm.
through, so it's not like a wound in his stomach. So
Mhm.
do the aliens have red blood? Or is that like, maybe, is he
It's a
cut
good
from another
question, yeah.
part? Like, is there another dead person we don't know about? Like,
So it does show a bunch of like chopped up vegetables on the counter. So maybe he was like chopping vegetables and got startled and cut his hand or something. I don't know.
But
he's
they
got
That's a
didn't
two
get his
on
guess.
hand
the,
wrapped, I don't
is it?
think.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I
remember.
don't
I
think
wasn't
so.
looking that close.
I don't know. That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
question.
It's a
Yeah.
good
I don't
point.
know. Just one thing I saw, I'm like, whose blood is that? Like,
Yeah, for
maybe it
the
is
amount of
alien blood.
over-explaining that he is guilty of, he doesn't over-explain everything. That's
Yeah,
one of the
but
problems I have with like fucking A Quiet Place. It's just like over-explaining things, so every fault in that explanation it's just like is highlighted
drives
also,
to an
drives you
nth
nuts.
degree.
Yeah.
Quiet Place fucking stole the water thing.
Kinda, yeah.
Oh yeah, they can't go on the water. Yeah, they can't
Yeah.
swim.
I
Yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah, those
Yeah.
movies, whatever,
And
man. We don't need
Yeah.
that anymore.
Bob, out of
They need a
5.
Gibson in there.
Oh, hey. Uh, yeah, I like this movie quite a bit. Like I said, definitely watched it right time, right place kind of situation when I was a teenager. For me though, this it's an alien movie, yeah, but at its core, it's a movie about a family. It's very driven by the family drama. They're dealing with the loss of a mother, a wife. Um, and I think it really succeeds in that, seeing this family come together and try to navigate this situation it would be difficult for anybody, even in the best situation, which they're not in. I think that really works. It's a little hokey with I guess the quote signs and like having faith and like that faith being validated overall in the end. It's like it's a little too perfect. It's a little too cheesy. It almost reminds me a little bit of like the ending of the Black Phone in a way, the way everything comes together like almost a little too perfectly. But I do think it lands well enough emotionally for me to sort of validate that and me give it kind of a pass. I think the way it treats the alien sort of aspects of the movie very seriously, it takes it at face value. I really like all that stuff, all the stuff we see on the news, the footage from the birthday party, the crop circles, all that stuff really works. The comedy lands super well in this. Um, we went over most of the funny stuff. I think the girl in the pharmacy where she's confessing her sins to Mel Gibson, despite him saying like I'm not a pastor anymore. That him saying like everybody in this family needs to calm down, need a piece of fruit or something. I don't know. There's a lot of like really funny moments in this. Um, I already mentioned the really tense sequence in the basement where they bash the light bulb and he's trying to like slow his son's breathing down. All that really works. Mel Gibson's individual struggle with his faith, I think, really works. There's a lot of good stuff happening in this. A lot of good scares. The silhouette of the alien on the roof. When Bo wakes her dad up and she's like, "Can I have a glass of water? There's a monster on the roof," or what, like all that stuff. Also, we get not one but two good kid actors in this movie. They both do well. So
Dude, yeah.
that carries
They're still
a lot of
working.
weight. And they're both still working. Yeah, yeah, good for them. Doing good shit too. The CG it doesn't age well. It's just a sign of the times. A sign of the times. Unfortunately, early 2000s CG just doesn't quite work very well. So yeah, it's not a flawless victory necessarily, but I think it's a great PG-13 science fiction movie, sort of intro to alien movies. I think if we saw like E.T. for the first time at our current age, we think it's a little cheesy, a little hokey too. But at its core, it's a movie about a family, and I think it succeeds in that the same way this does. So I don't know if Shyamalan ain't Spielberg, but this movie for me works ultimately. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. And that's going to put our aggregate at a 3.7 for Signs.
Damn.
Not bad.
I love it.
Not bad at all.
Very pleased with that.
Yeah.
Let's jump over into our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users have to say about it.
Ooh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these gentlemen guess within the best of their ability what the aggregate positive score is on RottenTomatoes.com for Signs. And we're going to start with the critic score or the tomatometer and then move on to the user score or the poopometer as they're calling it these days.
Popcorn meter, popcornometer, whatever. Yeah.
I will not try to say that anymore. It's not verbalizable for me. And I just said verbalizable. So,
I'm impressed.
You should be. All right. So there are 241 critic reviews for this film. We're looking for the aggregate percentage of positive reviews. I'm going to go to give you a chance to see what people are doing here, Ed. I'm going to start with Justin and then work up to you. Justin, what do you think?
I think generally this is a positively received film. I think the critics are gonna kind of swing off of those Shyamalan nuts, especially for the time this came out. So I'm gonna say they probably voted 88%.
Whoa.
I think.
All right.
Shyamalan had a lot of heat like back in the day.
He did. Yeah.
But these critics, they're still reviewing. That's the other thing. I will say, I think that we're going to take I'm going to take some sides off of those 8s there, and I'm going to give it a 33% critic review.
Okay. All right. Man, all right. Very visual way of making that decision. Bob, how about you?
Well, I'll take the middle with the only logical option, 69, please.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody ordered the comedy number, which means I got to do just a little bit of math here. Okay. So let's see. The correct answer is going to be just 7 percentage points off from one of you. And the one of you that got closest will be Bob. This is 76% certified fresh on Rotten
Certified
Tomatoes.
fresh. Wow.
Fried fresh.
Dude, Shyamalan,
That's right.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
Not
That's
these
great.
days. Not these
The
days.
craziest thing I've heard Shyamalan say about this movie is "Hell, Skeet."
Whoa, is that what he said about
He
it?
said it. He said it about the movie.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
I
crazy.
didn't expect you to say that.
I ain't worried.
You totally got me with that.
I know you're
I didn't
surprised.
know that you were
I
going that
surprised
way.
you.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm a
goodness.
master of suspense.
Oh my God.
Moving along. Let's
unlike
move over to
M. Night Shyamalan, who's a masturbator of
Yeah.
suspense. Yes.
Oh,
spreading that seed just anywhere. All right, let's move over to the poopometer. There are 250,000 plus ratings for signs from the users. We're going to go in reverse order, starting with Bob. Bob, what do you think the users, that 250,000, are going to say about this movie?
that's a lot. That's a shitload of reviews. I don't. What are they gonna say? I think it's probably in the ballpark as the critics. Maybe a little lower. Maybe a little lower. I'll take I'm gonna be crazy and not say 69 again because you can't say it twice. But I'll say 70. I'll take.
Whoa,
70.
Bob, you're
big
getting
one.
crazy.
I'm
right?
crazy.
Hell yeah.
Jesus. All right, Ed, you're bringing up the middle here. What are you thinking?
I mean, I hate to be that guy, but flip Joaquin upside down and have him lay on top of Mel. I'm going 69.
Okay, there we go.
That's a movie I want to see.
This is not a show known for restraint, Bob, okay? The people came here for the same comedy number every week.
I don't want to hog everybody's favorite number rating.
Juice, if you don't say 420%, we're dead here. This is over. Why don't you tell us what you got here, Juice?
This one's tough because with so many reviews. But I think it'll probably be, I agree. I think with Bob, I think it's going to be within the same realm. So I'll take just 75.
75. All right.
No more comedy numbers left. So
we are much, much closer on this one. The correct answer is just 2 measly percentage points away from one of you. And that person is going to be Bob again, sweeping this week. 67%. So a little on the low.
Mel Gibson.
No, wait.
I said 69.
No, he said 69.
I'm sorry. You're right. Ed, I'm sorry.
Randy.
Fuck you.
Fucking Randy.
Fuck you,
Oh,
Bob.
no.
Fuck you.
The fix is in.
Sweet. No,
I've done this over 500 times somehow. Ed, you get this one. Bob can fuck himself, as always.
It's not my fault.
It's your fault.
you, Bob.
You
Fuck
bewitched me,
me.
you son of a bitch.
Fuck me.
Yeah, so sorry.
Congratulations.
You were the 69. I'm just used to Bob picking 69.
As long as it's not Bob, that's all I care about.
I know that about you.
I know. Yeah. Made that very clear.
Congrats, Ed. Hell yeet, hell skeet to you. Now we're going to do, as we always do, and blind read a few negative reviews and see if they have any humor to them. Not always the case, but we're going to go for it anyway. All right, here we go. Here's one. It's the content that's to blame. Signs works on a confused storyboard. What's Shyamalan trying to say anyways? Nothing, or rather, a bit too much. Buddy, if I...
Which
I don't
is
know
it?
how you...
Yeah, which is it?
Those are two very different points of view.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
He's saying nothing but also everything, and I hate it, but I don't know which one to hate more because I don't know what he's doing.
You could say the same thing about the actual review. That's
You could say that about literally anything that exists on this planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's
Nailed
read
it.
one more. This one's going to be a little more concise. This one reads, crap circles. End of blurb. Here we go.
Hell yeah. I would have written a review too if I thought of that pun.
Oh, God. I hate it, but I also love it.
I respect
it more than the first review.
That's true, yeah. All right, that's it for Rotten Tomatoes, Bob. How's that?
That's all he wrote was crap circles.
That's all that they blurbed on here. That is literally it.
Do you need more?
I think I got the picture. I don't know.
That's
all right, Bob.
Love
Trivia or no trivia?
Yeah, we got a little bit of trivia. Let's jump over into it real quick.
Oh, yeah.
It's totally time for trivia.
All right there, fellas. Signs premiered in theaters on August 2nd, 2002. It was definitely a financial success. It was made on a budget of $72 million and it grossed $408 million.
Wow.
All right.
Holy shit.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah, which is only the seventh highest grossing movie of 2002. I don't know what the other ones are, but don't ask. But still, that's impressive.
Lord of the
M. Night
Rings.
Shyamalan cites The Birds, Night of the Living Dead, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers as influences for this movie. I see a lot of The Birds and Night of the Living Dead personally. Body Snatchers, I don't know if I see a ton of that necessarily.
I don't know. I know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see that either. I don't know what the
Spider-Man came out in 2022.
2002.
I mean 2002.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, Star Wars Episode Deuce,
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Signs,
Great CG.
Lord of the
in all
Rings.
these.
Yeah. Ed called Lord of the Rings. Two
Men in
Towers.
Black
Yeah.
Deuce.
Oof.
Oh,
my
wow.
God.
Oh, damn, man. Okay, something's peeking.
That's the good one though.
Damn, you had that bumper ready.
I know,
to
yeah.
go,
That was
dude. Holy
quick
shit.
on the draw.
Randy got them fingers, them quick digits.
All the ladies say so. Jesus Christ.
Crap
I resign.
circles.
Perhaps.
Your boy M. Night Shyamalan considered calling the movie The Alien Bulletin or Visitors before calling it Signs.
Dude, I think he had a lot of help now. The more I hear about this
Alien
movie, I
Bulletin.
just think he just had a lot of help.
That sounds like he didn't get what his own movie was about, really.
Yeah.
Because Signs is like so obvious.
And
You know?
bulletins.
I almost called it
Jesus
extra,
Christ.
Gray's on the move.
Gray's all about it.
But literally, the producers produced E.T. and Close Encounters.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is definitely a lot of going on, a lot of going on with help.
Yeah.
It definitely had
They
help.
know how to sell
Yeah,
this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. There you go there. Graham Hess was originally written as an older character. Paul Newman was offered the role, but turned it down, and so did Clint Eastwood, actually.
God damn, I would have loved to see Newman in this, actually.
Yeah,
That
oh
would've been
my
great.
God. But he was barely, walking around at this point. When he probably died in like 2006 or something. So
Yeah, it was not that long afterwards for sure.
Yeah,
I
Road
mean,
to Perdition
they managed
was
to
after
roll
this.
him out.
Mm.
They managed to roll him out for fucking Cars 1, so I don't know.
Yeah, he
Whenever
died in
that-
2008, and he at the
Okay.
time in 2008 when he died, he was 83. So just 6 years. So he would have been 70. Yeah, that's quite old. Yeah, he couldn't have.
R.I.P. Paul.
one of the
Pour one
best.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the
Was he
last bit.
ever in a horror movie?
In a horror movie? I'm not sure.
I know he did a Hitchcock movie, Marine, but I don't know if he was in anything else really. But that might have been a spy movie more than a horror movie, the Hitchcock one.
Yeah, I'm looking like his catalog to me is like it's like Slapshot, Color of Money, like
Man,
friggin' you know.
Slapshot's so good. I know, but we're talking
It's
horror
ridiculous.
movies.
I don't think so. I don't
we're talking
think
about
so. Not that I
Butch
see.
Cassidy, of course.
Mm.
What
Well,
an
whatever.
amateur. What an
best.
amateur. The
Sorry.
last bit of trivia I have here. The script originally called for the aliens to have a camouflaging ability much like the one used by the Predator in the Predator franchise. However, Shyamalan saw the shots of the creature and decided that it was too effects heavy. So I guess they switched it up to what we got.
Mm.
I think they could have bridged the gap a little bit, but
Well,
Yeah.
the ship's got camouflage, we know that because the bird hits
Yeah.
it and falls, so they kept a little bit of that in there.
If they
Yeah.
were trying to do the like watery, clear form, kind of
Yeah,
like
I'm glad
Hollow
they didn't
Man
do
did,
that.
which looked like shit, I could see that
Yeah,
like
that's
really
true.
not
Yeah.
working out. Even
I
though
think
what we
that's
got
a totally
little
fair
janky.
call.
but-
Yeah, I'd rather have what we have now than
That's
that,
fair
but
too. Yeah, I would.
I think
too,
they could
yeah.
have still. I think they pumped the brakes just a little bit more than they needed to.
I think you could have just not shown it in the middle of your living room, but that's just me.
Yeah,
Or-
I mean they do
You're
the
talking
backlight.
insanity right now.
But like
I'm
you said
insane
about
with
that
anger.
scene, it would have been better if because like you just look at the thing coming out of his wrist and you just see like a little bit, the kid's head. Like
yeah.
that mystery is what makes it scarier. And
It is,
the
yeah.
moment they show
Mhm.
you everything, you're right. You just all of a sudden could give a shit.
Yeah.
I could give
Yeah.
a shit.
By the way, Bob, I missed your score. What did you score this movie?
I gave it a 4 flat.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Thank you. And that our aggregate was a 3.7, by the way, just to recap for everybody
Okay.
listening.
Mhm.
That's all the trivia I got, though. Let's go ahead and talk about our Cooter of the Week. Juice, what is a cooter and why do we hunt them?
Oh, Cooter's a character type and a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter has to hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a cooter, but we want the cooter with the most points. The 5 points of cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall look and attire, and overall patheticness. Is there a cooter in Signs?
I really don't think
Nobody's
so.
acting a fool in this movie, really.
No, every human seems like they're decent.
Yeah,
In a weird way.
Yeah.
Even M.
Shyamalan's
Night.
on his
Yeah.
A game.
Yeah.
It's true.
Could we somehow give it to the aliens if we wanted to stretch some of
I
it?
don't know. We would really have to stretch. We don't know anything about their intentions.
They're
even
arrogant, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's
They're
petty,
very-
but like I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give him patheticness. Fucking pantry door should be
Yeah.
not the
and they,
biggest.
they
burden
show
in
up on
your
the
life.
water planet and they're like, oh shit, water kills us. We're fucked. And then leave.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
Well, we got Joaquin Phoenix. He definitely, we know he was hooking up with some drunk chick. Maybe he shouldn't have. So there's that.
No, a miracle
growing
saved
up
him
on
from
herself.
Yeah, he's a miracle.
Yeah. The miracle saved her.
He's a miracle. Man.
If you
Okay.
she's throwing up on herself, no one should be trying to kiss her. But the
Oh, my baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God.
he's a little arrogant, but he's humbled now, so maybe that arrogance is out. But yeah, I guess he'd be the closest. But overall, he moved back home to help with the family, so he's got to be a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's really acting real shitty in this movie, actually, which is kind of rare.
We love a cooter-free movie, don't we, folks?
Well, actually, no. We typically like to hunt them, but that's fine too.
I mean,
All right, how about can I ask a question about this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do M. Night Shyamalan movies have cooters in them usually? They're always like some kind of weird mystery. It's the trees. They're all ghosts. I'm getting old.
Well,
I think
I'm getting
Split-
old. Oh no, aging is the cooter.
I think Old might have had one, but Split
Split definitely did.
Split
would
for
have
sure.
one.
Unbreakable has one.
Unbreakable would have one.
Yeah.
And maybe
What was,
even
The Visit is for sure.
Yes, but
The
are those even human? Man, The Visit fucking by the end of it, I was rooting for them to kill those kids. I was just
Put him in the oven, damn it.
Yeah, I think Shyamalan's got some cooters sometimes, and
Yeah,
probably
maybe half and
Trap
half.
too. Trap.
Crap, good lord.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
If you've
I didn't
seen
bother
that
with
movie.
that one. I missed
Don't.
that one.
You're
Wise.
fine.
Yeah.
Don't.
That was a
missed
mini
that.
cast.
I missed
that
Lady in the Water.
Cabin.
Lady in the Water
Cabin.
has a cooter, I think.
I've not
Knock
seen
at the
Lady in
Cabin.
Water.
Yeah, I don't remember about Knock at
Yeah.
the
I
Cabin.
didn't bother.
Maybe.
There's a-
Yeah, fucking
there's
Ron
cooters.
Weasley's a cooter in
There's
that, in my
cooters.
opinion,
Yeah.
I think.
How about
At least
Devil?
one.
I haven't seen
Devil.
it.
I
He
haven't seen
produced
that
that.
in a long time.
Oh,
And
okay.
I
you
don't
produced it.
remember.
Okay.
I remember
okay.
it sucks.
I remember
Okay.
seeing the preview for Devil in the movie theater, and this is when someone's career is like taking a path because like everyone's watching it and everyone's like, "What is this?" You get to the full packed house. I forgot what movie I was there for, and then as soon as his name popped up, the whole place just started laughing.
Oh,
It was just like,
Damn.
Brutal.
Damn.
God damn.
Nobody gives a fuck.
So yeah, I guess this,
Yeah, I
but
think
this,
we're
it
cooter
seems
free.
Signs is cooter free. Yeah.
I think so. Cooter free.
Yeah.
Perfect PG-13 movie. There you go. Show it to your kids. Let's go ahead and skip what we've been watching this week and round out the show with our hotline screams.
Hotline scream.
If you guys are listening to the show and would like to call in and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's episode, hit us up at 904-638-3231. We got one voicemail this week. We're going to hear from our friend and yours, Big Hog Trey. Let's hear what he's got to say.
oh boy.
All right.
Yo, shout out Sexy Dracula. It's Big Hog Trey. I have a funny story I think you guys get a kick out of. Last week, me and this girl I'm dating went to watch Hellraiser in theaters because they released a limited release. That didn't go well. We sat in the parking lot beforehand, got a little toke on. We were feeling pretty good. Went in, sat down like to start at 7, sat down like 6:45. 7 trailer start. I'm like, that's a little weird. Sat through 30 minutes of trailers. There was like fucking 4 Coke ads. I felt like that guy in the library and signs bitching about soda ads. Sat through 30 minutes, and then a random fucking movie started. So I walked out to the dude. I said, hey, is this movie playing in this theater, in this auditorium? He scanned my ticket. He was like, no, it's in the next one. So me and my date, 30 minutes after Hellraiser started, walked in, sat down, and watched the last hour of Hellraiser and tried to figure it out. I have like a half-baked idea on what the fuck was going on. I don't know if I'll go back. I'll probably go back and watch it. I really liked it. It was really fucking good. Yeah, I don't know. I feel kind of fucking dumb. Don't do drugs, kids. As far as straight chilling goes, love the pod. I'm pretty sure I listened to a pod and one time, and you guys shit on the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, and I do not agree with that. I love that movie. It's my favorite horror movie. Call me a bastard. I don't know. But
you're a bastard.
Cheers, boys.
Look,
I don't think we've covered that movie. I don't remember.
No, but we've
talked
mentioned
about it.
We've mentioned it because it's definitely it takes a lot of beatings from us over the years it's taken.
Yeah.
Well, Trey, you might be an idiot, but at least you got a fat hog, my guy. So at least you got that going for you.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
That's all that matters at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
Just a humble motherfucker with a big ass dick.
Don't do drugs, kids. Listen to your friendly Uncle Trey Big Hog.
Yeah, or get edibles and take them when you get in the theater. You know where you're in your assigned seat, and then take the edibles.
Yeah.
And they'll kick in after the trailers.
I'm not sure what he was imbibing in, but he said toke. So I, as somebody who has dabbled myself quite a bit, I can still tell a number from a number usually. So I mean, you know, shit happens, and I'm. I think that my Rotten Tomatoes misfire proved that that's not the case.
Well, that's because you're sober. Yeah. That's the problem here.
That's always my problem. Mm-hmm. Everybody says, "Why aren't you stinking drunk, you motherfucker?"
That is hilarious, though. I can't imagine being dropped halfway into Hellraiser, stoned out of my mind, trying to figure that shit out. Like, there's no hope. Like,
there is no hope.
It seems crazy to have never seen Hellraiser and be a big horror movie fan. And but honestly, how cool would it have been for the first time you see Hellraiser for it to be in the theater?
Yeah,
that would be
really cool.
That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's a drag. You missed it, man. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, try again, brother. Good luck. Best of luck.
Fucking pain, man. You deserve it. You fucking open the box, bro.
You call.
I love pain. I love it because I hate it. I hate it and I love it. That's what the movie is,
please stop, but don't. But stop, but please, God, don't. Thanks for calling, Big Hog Trey. Definitely good to hear from you. Again, if you guys are listening, call in, leave a voicemail at 904-638-3231. Any prompts you guys want to throw out for next week's show?
For next week, let me see what we're covering.
We're covering the monkey next week. So
I don't know anything about that then. Shit.
Yeah.
Stephen King short turned into a movie.
I would say anyone who's seen Monkey Shines should the old movie from the 80s should let us know what they think of that and how it was related to the new one.
Absolutely. Or anybody who's read the original story, the King Nut story. I would love. I don't know. Like I'm not literate by any means, so I have not read any of these things. I'd be interested to know where it deviates and all that stuff because I'm sure there will be ample changes from the source material.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, I think it is just a short in one of his collections. So yeah, I assume they add some shit to it. They probably have to, right, to make a full movie. But yeah, check out The Monkey. Get ready for next week's show. Call in, tell us about getting fucked up in the theater and, walking into the wrong theater and puking on the floor and letting the ushers sweep it under the seats or, what weird shit in the theater. What's the weirdest thing you've ever
Yeah,
done in the
actually,
theater?
that's a great prompt. Tell me about weird shit in the theater. Also, tell me about your best theater going experience because I just
Yeah.
told mine.
Was someone
That
sprinting
fucking
behind you? What
dude,
happened?
this guy, and he was going like he was amped. This guy was fucking
Yeah.
amped. I want to
Yeah,
hear
man.
about your good theater stories because we
Yeah.
hear a lot of bad ones these days.
I'm Big Hog Tray, man, and I went and saw the monkey, and I was halfway through Mufasa, and I'm like, I thought Rafiki was the monkey, man. Yeah.
That's the guy.
This is the
Fucking
greatest shit I've ever seen.
this monkey seems totally chill. What the fuck is this movie about?
He's telling stories. I'm into it, dude. Fucking.
The horror's in your head, Randy. The horror's in your head.
As
Yeah,
always.
check out the monkey. Ed, man, thanks so much for sitting in with us, dude. It's great hanging with you. Great chatting with
Oh,
you.
it was great. I really appreciate you guys having me on, and I can't believe you guys have been doing this shit for this long. Godspeed to y'all doing the Lord's work, keeping horror movies popular in everyone's mind. I think it's one of the greatest forms of entertainment is horror movies, and you guys are doing wonderful work over here. It's straight chilling. I appreciate if you like this podcast, please check out last podcast on the left. We talk about all things spooky, true crime, aliens, cryptids, any kind of goblins. We're fucking all about it there over at last podcast on the left. And then if you get a chance, check me out on tour. I'm coming towards you, baby, especially if you're in Florida. I got shows all through March and May in Florida. Go to eddytunes.com for tickets. And also last podcast on the left and side stories is always on the road. We're going to be in Dallas on Friday, February 22nd. So if you're in that area, come check out last podcast there. And we got a good spooky show for you live at the CU Theater. So hopefully I will see you there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, check out the monkey. Get ready for next week's show. And until then, as always, everybody please keep chilling.